Chomsky is doing furnish his credentials as a leading political figure of the left wing in the United States, but he's doing so in a fashion that is highly qualified, because although he is correct in recognizing that the United States is engaged in a history of terrorist acts, which date as far back as 1953 with the overthrow of the democratically elected government of Iran. It includes destabilizing the democratically elected government of Chile, undertaking the overthrow of Fidel Castro after his nationalist uprising against Batista in Cuba, opposition to Cesar Chavez in Venezuela, a whole host of actions in Nicaragua, Guatemala, El Salvador, that were completely travesties, not to mention Vietnam, where the United States lost over 50,000 of its own troops while taking out over 2 million Vietnamese, and now the succession of atrocities in the Middle East, but he neglects to observe that 9/11 was a false flag operation. He neglects to observe that the assassination of John F. Kennedy was deliberately contrived by powerful special interests in the United States, where if you go on to Fetzer on Chomsky on the Internet, I have two. I take him apart for claiming that there were no policy issues involved in the death of JFK, where nothing could be further from the truth. JFK was planning to pull our forces out of Vietnam. He was threatening to shatter the CIA into 1,000 pieces. He was cracking down on organized crime. He was circumventing or abolishing the Fed. He was going to cut the oil depletion allowance. He was opposing Israeli development of nuclear weapons, all of which went forward with Lyndon Johnson at the helm, none of which were sustained. JFK even wanted to have AIPAC, the Israeli lobby, registered as a foreign agent. And I suspect, therefore, the timing here is intended to smear at JFK, because he has many claims here that are gross and exaggerated. In particular, he claims after the Bay of Pigs that JFK launched a murderous and destructive campaign to bring the terrors of the earth to Cuba. This is extremely misleading. It was the CIA, which was already out of control, that was responsible for these atrocities. See, for example, Bradley Ayer's book, The Zenith Secret, where he was an Army captain who was stationed in Florida at JM Wave, the only CIA base that was ever allowed to be founded on American soil. I therefore believe that the timing is extremely suspicious. This early November, as we approach the 51st observance of the death of JFK, that Noam Chomsky is continuing to abuse his position as a left-wing gatekeeper and to inhibit clear thinking on the part of progressives who still tend to idolize him, notwithstanding his complete and utter failures to adequately diagnose 9/11 or the assassination of JFK, his ongoing cover-up, and especially what appears to be his continued efforts to preserve Israel from criticism, where the only other candidate that could possibly compete with the United States as the world's leading terrorist state is Israel itself.